A lot of you people have been asking me to cover an MMORPG on the channel for quite some time. Yes, an MMORPG, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game right here on the channel. And you know what? I think it's time that we finally do that thing. Yes, today, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be reviewing Bit Legends, a fairly new MMORPG that's doing rather well for itself. In this video, I plan to not only review this title, but to also give you guys a complete overview of what you can expect when playing this game. Now, full disclosure guys, I always like to be as honest as I can with you. This here video is a sponsored review. What does this mean? Well, it means that everything you see in this video has been approved by the company that made the game. But if you know me, in the 6 years or so I've had this channel, I've only ever done this once before for a very well respected game, and as you can no doubt already see, it's a hardcore retro infused game, which is why they asked me to review it, and I humbly accepted their sponsorship. Thanks. So pull out your phone, unless you're already using it, or driving I suppose, and get over to the top link in the description as I review and talk you guys through Bit Legends. Welcome to Slope's Game Room. So yes, Bit Legends, the retro pixel themed MMORPG with a hardcore emphasis on pixelated graphics and hidden nostalgic nods, which will no doubt retrospect the memory of childhood. In other words, retro gamers and MMORPG gamers alike are gonna lap this game up. And even though the game is fairly new, this video should hopefully demonstrate why you should still join us in Bit Legends right now, which as stated can be downloaded using the first link in the description. There is a lot to show off in this game guys, so in my opinion it's best that we start at the beginning. As you can see right here, we have my character, cute little Dan Ibbotson, and as you can see again, I got me the ability to upgrade, which is exactly what I'm gonna do. And boy is there a lot to upgrade. Over 3,000 pieces of equipment, if we're going to get technical, can be assembled on this very screen. And I just want to add this little bit right here, but these items are not being directly sold as DLC or whatever. You actually get these bad boys as you play the game. Now obviously everything with an up arrow is going to be helping your character out and it's better than what you have to hand, and everything with a down arrow is obviously not going to be as good either. You might want to sell that stuff. You can sort your weapons by optimum, rarity, rank, attack, HP and speed too. All of this is done so you can get quickly done and go up against over 200 monsters and bosses found throughout this title. After equipping and upgrading your character to the extreme, you will end up with an incredibly unique looking avatar. And one last thing before going ahead, I have personally decided in this particular example to choose nothing but items of the same class for this configuration, which basically means I will be getting a full star rating. Don't worry guys, yes I know I'm throwing you in the deep end a little there, but you do learn all of this as you play the game. Anyway, let's get on to the campaign. So you've chosen your team, you've chosen the order of said team, you've got your items needed to go to battle, and that's exactly what you do in this awesome roguelike campaign, working your way through the ever-increasing difficult dungeons. Now I'm sure what you're seeing right here is a very typical sight for fans of this genre already, but as you work your way through the dungeon, you will find items to pick up, bad guys to fight, and eventually one of over 200 big bosses and monsters throughout your playthrough. Depending on your health and your mana, it will obviously depend on how you choose to take on each battle. You can of course put it on auto battle if you wish, which is what I tend to do for the easier dungeons before the boss battles. But again, of course, you can be a little bit more tactile if you choose and turn that off when needed. And you will need to do exactly that if you want to keep a close eye on those harder battles, as your mana and health does not automatically increase over time in this game, so you will need potions or healing powers, or to find fountains in the dungeons or inside chests throughout the dungeons or whatever to boost all of that up. Thankfully, you guys have the ability to switch on or off this autoplay feature at any point throughout the game. Playing this mode is also a great way to attempt to capture monsters to join your team in case you want to build up the ultimate roster to battle against future oppositions. Now obviously the campaign is not the only place you're going to be finding fights within this game, because in the arena you can not only choose your defense, very important as real PvP battles will be occurring against you, but more importantly you can work your way up the ranks to hopefully win battles against real online players with different difficulty modes depending on your skill level. And again, that's still not the only place you're going to be fighting, as you can also battle it out in Project Annihilation in an attempt to grab some rare exclusive items, and of course you can do all of this with multiple difficulty levels set to fit your playstyle. But, you know, the harder you set it, the more rewarded you will become. You've got Ordeal, which is a wave-based auto fight mode, which is not only a great way to get as much loot as possible, but it's also used to push your team up the worldwide ranking system. Trials are essentially the best way to get new gear early on in the game's life from what I can tell, and the higher you go, you guessed it, the rarer the loot will become. Warfare is one of the more addictive game modes found on here if you ask me, as it involves you taking over as much of a map as possible using barrels to not only take the number of steps needed to get to the next battle, but also using them to actually fight too. It's kind of like a board game version of this very game. Seriously, this is probably one of my favourite modes of this entire game, even though I do need to get a little bit better at it. Radiation Zone is yet another area to visit for even more battles, and of course you can also create or join guilds too in order to make new online friends and groups to experience adventures in raid dungeons together. Seriously, the amount of content in this very title for a game that's barely released is damn impressive. If I was you guys, I would get down into the description, I would be downloading this title right away so you do not get left behind, because we are still not done. Throughout your battles, you'll no doubt collect a lot of monsters in your team, and Bit Legends actually gives you the ability to fuse these monsters together to create, well, whatever this is. You can summon, equip, and upgrade a crazy amount of pets that you earn throughout the game, including Babe the Pig, and you can mount your characters onto all different kinds of, well, mounts, which sometimes is epic and sometimes completely ridiculous. You can dismantle the items that you don't need in exchange for random resources, depending on the rarity of that item you're dismantling. And if that's still not enough, when all of this battling, upgrading, raiding, guilding, challenging, forging, and everything else-ing, you can relax and go fishing, which is an entire game in itself. It was a little weird to get used to this, but essentially what you need to do is randomly drop your rod, which results in you getting a little puff of air popping up, informing you on how far away the fish is. It's a bit of a trial and error that, like I said, was a tad confusing at first, but eventually became super addictive. And yes, there is a ranking system in place with this one too, in case you want to compare your trout. For such a new game, you have endless amounts of things to do in Bit Legends, and even though I'm trying to cram all of this information into this one video, it's still not everything included. I barely touched on reforging your items, which is a bit of a gamble in hopes that you get a better outcome of those items you're reforging. The ability to choose your class, there are currently 3 as of the making of this video, those being Bounty Hunter, Kung Fu Master and Engineer, with plenty more to come, so I have been told. You got the ability to get achievements throughout your playthroughs, daily quests, a battle pass which includes not only the obvious free-to-play option, but a paid option for the more hardcore players among you, and of course you've got events, which are essentially objectives for you to complete in order to gain even more rewards within a certain amount of time. Is that everything? No. I've been playing this game now for a few days and I'm having a good amount of fun with it. Exploring all of these options and quests and what have you is definitely all part and parcel of the fun to be had with Bit Legends. And the way it's going, I feel like I have still only scratched the surface as to what Bit Legends is going to offer me. Just exploring the hub world filled with real life players, adding them as friends, working together, or obviously fighting each other, helps make this free to play title stand out from what else is out there. I personally love the hectic art style of these pixelated characters and the endless amounts of customizable options available to you, and the ability to upgrade practically everything results in a real sense of personalization that's hard to comprehend. It's virtually impossible that your unique team will ever be replicated exactly due to the amount that's actually on offer here, making your user experience completely personal to you. As stated, this game is now available on the Google Play Store, with iOS, like I said, right around the corner. The link to that store page can be found in the description, and if you're a fan of MMORPGs or retro aesthetics, I cannot suggest Bit Legends enough. Plus, as already stated, it is free to play, so, you know, what have you got to lose? Go on, go and get it. Try and work your way through the huge campaign and build up one of the craziest and unique teams going in Bit Legends. So that just leaves me with saying thanks to DH Games, thank you guys for watching, and as stated, all of the links can be found in the description, which I highly suggest you go and check out.